On the day of my grand wedding with my husband, a female swordsman burst in. She lifted the bridal veil and pinched my cheek with a smile. She complimented, "The bride is so tender," and then left gracefully. From that day on, a black ink stain appeared on my face, and no matter what method I tried, it couldn't be washed off. My husband despises me and has not stepped foot in my room even once. My mother-in-law resents me for occupying the position of the main wife yet being unable to bear children. Even my sister-in-law laments that her brother has a hard life, having married an ugly woman. I have become the invisible main wife of the Marquis's residence, enduring hardships without complaint, managing household affairs diligently, raising the adopted son, wholeheartedly planning for the Marquis's estate. It wasn't until I caught my husband and the lady warrior enjoying flowers and strolling in the spring that I realized my husband and the lady warrior had already fallen deeply in love at first sight. The chivalrous woman, unwilling to be bound by the rules of the marquisate, left her husband but could not bear to give up the man she loved, so she used a secret potion to disfigure me. Meanwhile, her husband had already found the chivalrous woman and obtained the antidote, but under her tears and tenderness, he threw away the antidote and made a vow to her, promising absolute loyalty. He remained chaste for her within the marquisate and lived in harmony with her outside the estate, having a son and a daughter. The son was adopted by me to inherit the marquisate's estate. The daughter will be cherished by her parents and will eventually bring a son-in-law to live with them. All these years, they have been extremely happy, while the only one suffering has been me. I secretly administered a paralyzing drug to the heroine, set fire to the manor, and notified my husband and son to come and help put out the fire, then tied them up along with the intruders and threw them into the manor. I am well aware that I have committed a capital offense. I wrote a blood oath, beat the petition drum, and accused the Marquis's household of favoring the concubine and humiliating the legitimate wife. The Marquis's estate was stripped of its title and demoted, and I was ordered to die. The Empress took pity on me and allowed me to divorce before my death. From then on, I was no longer a wife of the Liu family, merely a daughter of the Li family. After my death, I saw people cursing the Marquis's estate and also saw them calling me a wicked woman. Right or wrong, people can say what they want, but my life has indeed been wasted. When I opened my eyes again, I was back on my wedding day. The female warrior flew straight towards me with a cheerful smile. I quickly pulled my husband in front of me. This time, it was my husband's face that was smeared with a large blotch of ink. I came to my senses amidst Jiyu Feiyan's scream, realizing that I had been reborn. In my previous life, on my wedding day, I was publicly smeared with black ink on my face. Jiyu Feiyan laughed and ran away. All eyes were on me. I was panicked and at a loss, tears welling up in my eyes but barely held back. The maid helping me wiped at the black mark, found it wouldn't come off, and under my mother-in-law's urging, hastily covered my head with the veil, proceeding with the wedding ceremony first. At that time, none of us realized that the ink stain would follow me for the rest of my life. Today, looking at the ink stains on Lu Yu's face, two thoughts quickly came to my mind. First, I want this ink stain to stay on Lu Yu's face forever. I want him to regret what happened today until the day he dies. Second, I want Jiyu Feiyan to taste this pain as well. I want them to love and kill each other, to be suspicious of one another, and to hate each other until they die. Lu Yu watched Jiyu Feiyan escape and breathed a slight sigh of relief. Turning to look at me, his face was full of reproach. "Xianxia, you've disappointed me. Let's annul the engagement." I indifferently lifted the disheveled bridal veil and tossed it to the ground. In my previous life, I was married to Lu Yu for over 20 years, yet we never shared a marital relationship. He vowed to remain chaste for Jiyu Feiyan. To him, I was merely a stranger living under the same roof. In this life, we never got married, so we are not husband and wife. I want to be a daughter of the Li family, not a wife of the Liu family. I never want to be tied to him again. Lu Yu was stunned. He reached out and grabbed my sleeve. "Xianxia, just because someone is causing trouble, you're going to call off the engagement." All around, everyone was astonished. Madame Qian, Lu Yu's mother, had a livid expression. Lu Yu's sister, Lu Lian, also had an angry expression on her face. I chuckled. In my previous life, I also thought I was unlucky, encountering a crazy woman who ruined my life, but later, I found out, Lu Yu, his mother, and his sister all clearly knew about Jiyu Feiyan's existence, knew she had the secret medicine to remove the ink stains from my face, yet they all collectively remained silent. My mother-in-law expects me to manage the household. My sister-in-law relies on me to earn her dowry and support her in her husband's family. They want me to humble myself, to constantly push myself, to exhaust myself, to be a diligent old ox always trying to please them. Only then will they reluctantly use me, yet still look down on me. This time, they will never get away with throwing even a drop of dirty water on me. I said indifferently, young Master Lu, this ink mark is called ink without frost. Once it sticks to the skin. Unless there's a special secret medicine, it's absolutely impossible to remove. That person clearly intended to ruin me, and that woman kept calling you Yu Lang, young Master Lu. This is the love debt you've incurred, and I, Li Xiangjuan, absolutely refuse to marry someone who is fickle and unfaithful. Lu Yu was slightly startled, then his brows and eyes darkened. Don't exaggerate the situation. I admit I know that woman, but there's absolutely no private affair between us. Today was just her childish mischief. In truth, love or not love, it's really very clear, her viciousness, in his eyes, was merely childish mischief. In my previous life, I once went to Jingyan Nunnery to seek Buddha. I wanted to ask the most revered elderly nun there, why has my life been so bitter? When I arrived, the elderly nun was wiping the hands of a young novice she had taken in. The novices stood in a line, waiting for the elderly nun to wash the cloth and clean their hands and faces. Those little novices could have washed themselves, but since she wiped the hands and face of one, they all wanted her to do it for them. The elderly nun didn't mind the trouble at all, her eyes were filled with love. She told me that she didn't expect them to grow up and become nuns, only that they grow up healthy and safe. She said, I know why the benefactor has come. If the benefactor cannot be a child in front of him, he does not love you. If he cannot be a child in front of the benefactor does not love him. I descended the mountain in a daze. Suddenly, I felt that my marriage to Lu Yu was quite fair. He didn't love me, and I didn't love him. This was the phrase I had used to comfort myself for 20 years as a wife of the Lu family, until I saw him being affectionate with Jiyu Feiyan. The scale in my heart called fairness became unbalanced. Because I realized that Lu Yu could choose not to love me, but as a man, he could openly love someone else, while I, as a woman, could only openly love my husband for my entire life, and no one else. This marriage is not fair, I chuckled. If Lord Lu doesn't believe me, he can simply wipe his face with a handkerchief to see if the ink stains can be removed. Lu Yu stared at me intently, never once raising his sleeve. I found it even more ironic, he dared not verify it. He guessed that Jiyu Feiyan was likely that kind of person. This deepened my disgust for him, and my anger surged within me. He knew everything, but he wasted my entire life. He watched coldly as I struggled to survive humbly in the Lu family, yet never spoke a fair word for me, because my sacrifice was the bargaining chip for his and Jiyu Feiyan's happiness. Even that son was probably given to me out of pity. How ironic. Madame Qian, Lu's mother, was in a panic and quickly took out a handkerchief to wipe. Lu Yu didn't dare to push his mother's hand away in public, so he let her wipe his face, which turned his skin red. However, the ink stain didn't come off. Instead, it made the mark even more terrifying. Lu's mother was flustered and immediately ordered someone to fetch Jiyu Feiyan. She wanted to persuade me, but was stopped by my family members. Lu Lian, Lu Yu's sister, quickly said, Sister Xiangjuan, don't you have any feelings for my brother? He has no private feelings for that woman. It's just her one-sided wish, I said coldly. Miss Lu, the person I, Li Xiangjuan, am going to marry is a talented young man, not such an ugly husband. Wait until your brother's face is cleaned up before coming to find me. Otherwise, just seeing his face will make me lose my appetite. In my previous life, they enjoyed the comfortable life I provided, yet they still laughed at me behind my back, calling me an ugly woman without beauty, and even looking at me would give them nightmares. Of course, this was an exaggeration. I always wore a veil on my face, so they couldn't see the ink stains on my face. They just want to break my heart, to make me sad, because in this world, my husband was the first to stop loving me, to mistreat me, and so they followed suit, insulting and bullying me. Like a window with a hole, those willing to fix it are saints, but most ordinary people will only poke one hole after another in the window. Once, I was that window with a hole. Now, I will equally absolve every evil person. When I returned home, I immediately issued several orders. One was to have someone constantly watch Lu Yu. Jiu Feiyan couldn't bear to see Lu Yu suffer, so she would definitely go back to him. I wanted her to go and never return. And I wanted Lu Yu to live with that ugly face for the rest of his life. The second option is to go to the Imperial Fragrance Tower in the capital, which is the largest assassin organization in the city. I want to place a bounty to have someone hunt down Jiu Feiyan. In my previous life, I had tried every possible way to find Jiu Feiyan. I have an eidetic memory, so I drew a portrait of Jiu Feiyan and tried every possible way to find people in the martial world, hoping to locate her and get the antidote from her. But Lu Yu angrily accused me of colluding with people from the martial world, claiming that I wanted to ruin his career. At that time, I asked him how he found out. I handled this matter discreetly, and the secrecy of the Imperial Fragrance Pavilion is even better. There's no way to leak guests' privacy. His voice cold and stern, he said it was discovered by political rivals, urging me to stop immediately and not cause him trouble. Only on my deathbed did I realize that it was clearly because Jiu Feiyan was being hunted down and injured, crying to him, that he came to me, using the pretext of affecting his career, to make me withdraw the assassination order. In this life, I will make Jiu Feiyan live in fear every day. Since she dislikes being bound by the Marquis's household rules, she might as well live a life of constant wandering. Third, I will summon the family physician, give him a prescription, and have him adjust the frost-free ink. In my previous life, I could never find the antidote, so I worked tirelessly to earn money, bought several pharmacies, hired a few renowned doctors, and started by examining the medicinal formulas. I thought that as long as I could crack the formula, I could naturally find the antidote. The renowned doctors were indeed capable, having concocted a formula similar to that of the frostless ink, and they also attempted to create an antidote. When the antidote was applied to my face, it only lightened the ink slightly, but did not completely erase the ink stains on my face. Those doctors said that perhaps the most crucial one or two ingredients were missing. And those ingredients might not be available here, possibly coming from foreign lands. Jiu Feiyan had traveled far and wide, wandering all over, and had no idea where she had gotten such strange and peculiar items. I felt regret, but I was not discouraged. I had them alter the prescription, turning it into a frost-free ink with no antidote. Back then, I secretly harbored a thought: if I ever found Jiu Feiyan, I would smear her face with ink, making her regret her actions for the rest of her life. In my previous life, I used this formula to administer a paralyzing agent to her, smeared her face black, but she died too quickly, and no one saw her blackened face. I felt no satisfaction in avenging my grudge, only a sense of absurdity, as if it were all a dream. Everything was too absurd. Because of their love-hate relationship, I became a sacrificial pawn to maintain their happy life. But no one ever asked if I was willing. In this life, she will not live cleanly and innocently. The last thing I did was personally, I changed into my regular clothes, took my maidservants, and drove a carriage to a gathering. In a corner of the gathering, there was a man and a woman. The man stood holding a sword, his eyes lowered, his handsome face full of impatience. The woman was juggling. Though her appearance was plain and ordinary, her sword dance was nimble and sharp, making her seem spirited and radiant with inner brilliance. Her gaze was resolute, and she felt no shame in performing for a living. After finishing her sword dance, she picked up her small basket to collect tips, but the crowd scattered, everyone hurrying away as if afraid of being asked for money, and some even spat on the ground. The woman's face remained calm. When she was about to approach me, I averted my gaze and didn't give her any money. Instead, I went to the tea stall next door and ordered a cup of tea. The man coldly said, "I told you before, this is useless, yet you wouldn't believe me." The woman didn't like hearing such sarcastic remarks and retorted, "Brother Zhu, If you're willing to do it, then do it. If not, just stay out of the way. No one is asking you." The man was named Zhu Wu, and the woman was Chu He. They were both senior and junior disciples. And also enemies of Jiyu Feiyan. In my previous life, I had already found out through various channels that the woman who wronged me was named Jiyu Feiyan, a somewhat renowned female martial artist in the Jianghu. Her light footwork was exceptionally graceful. She was innocent and carefree. With clear likes and dislikes, she loved to join in the fun, stood up for the wronged, and did good deeds. However, if one inadvertently offended her, they should beware of her causing chaos and trouble. Zhu Wu and Chu, his master, Song Yishan, was an old Jianghu veteran who later wanted to retire from the martial world and thus held a Jinpen Shisho ceremony. That day, if no one came seeking revenge, it would mean that all grudges in the martial world had been laid to rest. From then on, he could return to a peaceful life. But just then, Jiyu Feiyan barged in and called out to Song Yishan, "Dad, did I agree to you retiring from the martial world?" Then, with a mischievous smile, he knocked over the golden basin and left gracefully. She casually called him Dad, seemingly giving Song Yishan the upper hand. However, Song Yishan had always been virtuous and self-disciplined, and he and his wife were deeply in love. Having no children of their own, they took Zhu Wu and Chu He as disciples to pass on their legacy. Suddenly, a woman appeared calling him Dad and even knocked over his golden basin. Not only did his retirement ceremony fail, but it also caused a rift between him and his wife. His wife didn't believe that anyone would casually call a stranger Dad, convinced that he had betrayed their bond, and left in anger. Song Yishan went to chase after her and encountered an enemy on the way. The enemy had originally planned to settle their grievances, but upon learning that Song Yishan's golden basin had been smashed and that he had suddenly acquired a daughter, they deemed him morally inferior. They believed that heaven itself disapproved of his attempt to wash his hands of his past, and that this grudge could not go unavenged, as it defied the natural order. The enemy had intended to sever one of Song Yishan's arms to settle the score, but Song Yishan was in a hurry to find his wife, and tempers flared. In the heat of the moment, Song Yishan was accidentally killed. Halfway through her journey, his wife calmed down, returned to ask for clarification, but upon seeing her husband's body, she concluded that she had caused his death and took her own life beside him. From then on, Zhu Wu and Chu He embarked on a path of vengeance. They sold off their belongings and searched far and wide for Jiyu Feiyan. Now, they have reached the end of their rope. Zhu Wu had always been proud and unwilling to perform for others or work as a security guard. He thought about working as a security escort at a courier agency. However, once he joined the courier agency, signing the contract meant committing for several years. Chu He disagreed, feeling that it would not allow them to quickly avenge their master. He planned to perform for a living, and once he earned money, he would go find Jiyu Feiyan. In the previous life, when Jiyu Feiyan learned they were looking for her, she had people block their path and beat them half to death. It was when I came down from the Jingnian nunnery that I picked them up and brought them home. After they recovered from their injuries, they became my subordinates. I hired renowned masters to teach them. Once they completed their training, they searched everywhere for Jiyu Feiyan. Later, Zhu Wu returned with a head, claiming he had killed Jiyu Feiyan, but Jiyu Feiyan's mouth was stubborn. He would rather destroy the antidote than hand it over. He failed to bring back the antidote, and the most regrettable thing was that Chu He lost his life as a result. At the time, I didn't suspect anything. Gave Zhu Wu a sum of money to thank him for helping me avenge the death, and let him go. I only felt regret that Chu He had died. I lit incense at night, gazing at the kind-faced Guanyin, and I really wanted to ask clearly, was it worth it, this so-called revenge, to trade one life for another? Chu He once said it was worth it. She said that the Song Yishan couple treated her like their own daughter, and there was no reason for children to remain indifferent when their parents were killed. But I still couldn't sleep at night. I have been providing her with an eternal lamp for many years. The resentment in my heart lingers, never ceasing. I believe the vengeance should be carried out, but she should also live. Even if it comes to exchanging lives, it should be one life for many. Later, when I set fire to Jiyu Feiyan's manor, I saw Zhu Wu rushing into the flames, heartbroken, trying to save Jiyu Feiyan. Only then did I realize that I had been deceived by Zhu Wu. That head was not Jiyu Feiyan's at all, and it could very well have been Chu He, disguised. This heartless wretch likely murdered Chu He. In this lifetime, I found them ahead of time. I hope Chu He can see through Zhu Wu's true nature sooner. Also, I'm curious to know how Lu Yu would react if he found out there was always a secret admirer by Jiyu Feiyan's side. That must have been incredibly amusing. Zhu Wu shot a cold glare at Chu He and turned to stride away. Chu He rested for a while and then resumed his shouting. I watched her work tirelessly until the sun set behind the western hills, yet she only earned a dozen or so copper coins. The path to her revenge is still a long way off. When she finished packing up her stall, I had my maid invite her over and asked if she would be willing to be my bodyguard. Chu He immediately refused. I dipped my finger in the tea and wrote 3 words on the table, Jiyu Feiyan. She immediately halted, her face full of wariness. I smiled and said, Miss Chu, our goal is the same. She is also my enemy. However, with your current skills, I'm afraid you're not quite ready yet. She immediately knelt on one knee, clasped her hands in salute, and said, Please instruct me, miss. As long as I can avenge my master and mistress, I am willing to serve you as a slave for life. I helped her up, silently thinking to myself, Good girl, I do not wish for you to be my servant. I only wish for you to live in this world as freely and joyfully as I do. On the way back, I stopped by the Jingyan nunnery and made a donation to the still young Abbess Jing'an. Abbess Jing'an asked me, Benefactor, would you like to draw a fortune stick? This humble nun is willing to interpret it for you. She is already quite famous and no longer easily interprets fortune sticks for others. But I shook my head and refused. My wish is not something that can be resolved by a single fortune stick. What makes people unafraid of poverty is becoming wealthy. What truly allowed me to let go of my inner turmoil was the satisfaction of avenging a great wrong. Now, I cannot see through it, nor do I wish to. Abbess Jing'an smiled and said, Then let this humble nun offer you a word. Fate is by no means predetermined. In your every word and action lies the thread of destiny. Destiny changes. The only constant is change itself. This humble nun wishes for you to achieve your heart's desire. I clasped my hands together, returned the gesture, and calmly descended the mountain. Down the mountain, I still have a tough battle to fight. I brought Chu He back to the mansion, and as soon as I entered, I faced a 3-way interrogation. Countless eyes of my parents and relatives were fixed on me. They needed an explanation from me. They treat me as a daughter of the Li family. To the outside world, they have been protecting me all day today, but within the family, they need me to explain clearly why I broke off the engagement with the Lu family. I slowly knelt down and said softly, Father, mother, uncles, aunts, and elders, I have brought shame upon the Li family, but I do not regret breaking off this engagement. Lu Yu is not worthy of me. Lu Yu had an affair with that woman. She was unwilling to be bound by the rules of the Marquis's household. So she abandoned Lu Yu, but unwilling to let go, she deliberately tried to ruin my appearance at the wedding banquet. Lu Yu knew full well, yet in front of everyone, he couldn't bring himself to scold that woman. If I were to truly marry into the Marquis's household, there would be endless suffering waiting for me. The daughter of the Li family can be diligent and frugal in managing the household, enduring hardships without complaint. But she should not be schemed against to be treated like a beast of burden, bullied and exploited. Father's expression turned grim, mother's eyes were filled with pity. Everyone was talking and discussing. An elder uncle sighed deeply. But you are too willful. The Li family has never had such a thing happen before. The Li family was a distinguished lineage of scholars, where marriage alliances were based solely on character. The daughters of the Li family were known for their noble conduct and integrity, and their reputations were so esteemed that they never had trouble finding suitable matches. Back then, when the Marquis's family came to propose marriage, it was precisely the Li family's reputation that they valued. Father had inquired about Lu Yu, and the people around him all spoke highly of him, handsome in appearance, outstanding in ability, with a promising future ahead. What was even more rare was his noble character, making him a promising talent. That day, Father asked Lu Yu 3 questions. Do you have someone you admire or any concubines or mistresses? Would you take concubines? And could you accept having only one wife in your lifetime? Have you had any romantic entanglements outside, or made promises to others? Lu Yu firmly replied, no. Father had checked, and indeed, there were none, at that time. None of us knew that he truly had no connection with the noble ladies of the capital, yet he would become deeply involved with a woman from the distant martial world. I also don't know why he so firmly claimed to have no relationship with Jiyu Feiyan. Perhaps they had a falling out at the time, and he was in a fit of anger, at the peak of his hatred for her, so he could utter such deceitful words without any burden. But when Jiyu Feiyan stormed into the wedding banquet, he saw through her duplicity and also recognized his own true feelings. He truly doesn't love me, and he truly loves Jiyu Feiyan to the point of madness. My parents thought they had married me off to a talented and outstanding young man, believing I would be as happy as they were, but on my wedding night, I spent it sitting alone in desolation. Lu Yu said, I will help you find that woman. He stayed with me all night. After that, he was unwilling to come, and I was unwilling to go. We treated each other with respect. Later on, he advised me to let go. I don't care about how you look on the outside, and you should let go of it too. Between men and women, it doesn't have to be about love. It's fine as it is now, with each of us fulfilling our own duties. If a person is a tree, I feel that my inner self is withering day by day, because I have become so parched that I can no longer receive a single drop of nourishment. The Marquis's estate is full of people who need me. Yet no one ever gives me a word of thanks in return. I want to accept my fate, yet I am unwilling to give in, always struggling to let life bloom into a flower, even if it is a very, very small one. At least my life would have once been splendid, but there is none. Until death, I remain withered and parched. I was punished by kneeling in the ancestral hall. Chuhi felt indignant on my behalf. She accompanied me into the ancestral hall. She said, if it were me, I would have killed those two. She's so adorable. I did not kneel before the prayer mat. In my previous life, I had already been a well-behaved and sensible lady from a prestigious family for long enough. In this life, I don't care anymore. After offering incense to my ancestors, I opened the window and asked Chuhi to take me away. Chuhi was stunned. I laugh. Let's go. Aren't we going to kill those two people? Let's go now. Aren't you going to kneel? I take a deep look at the ancestral tablets. No. Our own ancestors would never want their descendants to suffer. Perhaps my rebirth was only possible because our ancestors in the underworld kowtowed until their heads were bruised, begging for it. How could they blame me? They would only feel heartache for me. Chuhi was in a daze. She pulled me as we climbed through the window and over the wall. I commented, your strength and lightness skill are both a bit lacking. With this, you won't be able to catch up to Jiyu Feiyan, Chuhi. Chuhi took me to hide near the Lu family's residence. The sky had long since darkened completely. In the courtyard of Lu's mother, Madame Qian, there was a noisy commotion. Madame Qian was likely in a foul mood. As her scolding voice faintly echoed through the air, Lu Lian was throwing things around, slapped a maid, and loudly told her to get out. Later, the lamps and candles in the courtyard were extinguished one by one. Only the candle in Lu Yu's room remained lit. He sat by the window, the candlelight casting his shadow clearly. He is actually a very handsome man, with a captivating appearance. Back then, to some extent, we were all deceived by his face, Mother said. In terms of looks, the two of you are an exceptionally good match. I once wondered, if my appearance had remained flawless, would Lu Yu and I have lived in harmony and mutual respect? I think perhaps we would have. But perhaps we will still end in tragedy, because there is no face that does not age. Lu Yu is not a sincere gentleman of consistent character. I think, that's fine too. At least I never gave my heart, so it's not a loss. But when I see my parents in love, I still feel a pang of regret. My father loves my mother's youthful face, and he also loves the wrinkles that have come with age. My mother pities my father for not being as strong as he once was, and she aches to see his hair turning silver. They once quietly discussed who would die first, and in the end, they sat wordlessly, tears falling silently. Neither could bear the thought of leaving the other first. and neither could bear the thought of leaving the other alone in sorrow. Having witnessed the finest love in the world, I came to realize my own bleakness. And it all felt even more absurd. My thoughts drifted far away. Chuhi suddenly tugged at my sleeve. She quietly pointed in a direction. And I saw a woman stealthily appear under the tranquil, empty night sky. After glancing around, she silently prepared to slip into the Lu family courtyard. It was Jiyu Feiyan. I took out the whistle and gave it a light blow. Several figures immediately stepped out of the darkness, blocking Jiyu Feiyan. Jiyu Feiyan's lightness skill was indeed impressive. She dodged and weaved among the group with incredible agility. But in the end, 2 fists were no match for 4 hands. And she gradually fell into a disadvantage. Chuhi was about to step forward to help, but I pulled her back, telling her to watch quietly. Then we saw a figure dart forward, blocking those people and swiftly rescuing Jiyu Feiyan. Chuhi gasped in shock and abruptly stood up. She recognized him. It was Zhu Wu. She said, "It's senior brother Zhu. He caught Jiyu Feiyan. Let's follow him and get revenge." She was very excited. I felt a bit sorry for her. In her previous life, she practiced martial arts very diligently. To avenge her master and mistress, she really trained with all her might, and she was stronger than Zhu Wu. It was ultimately Zhu Wu who took her life, because she had never suspected Zhu Wu. In this lifetime, she will see clearly. I said, "Miss Chu, from now on you must hide your tracks and not say a single word. If you say one word, I will deduct 1 copper coin from you. Conversely, if you can manage to not say a single word, I will reward you with a silver ingot. A tael of silver is 10 taels." Chu, his eyes widened in surprise. She opened her mouth to speak, then remembered something and quickly closed it, nodding firmly. "Let's follow Zhu Wu." Zhu Wu led Jiyu Feiyan to a safe forest. He reluctantly let go of Jiyu Feiyan, took a step back, and turned his face away as he coldly said, "Miss Jiyu, you are now safe. You're fine." Chu He and I hid behind a tree. Upon hearing this, her eyes widened, and she immediately wanted to rush out. I tightly held her back, signaling her to listen. Jiyu Feiyan, still shaken, looked around and then at Zhu Wu, laughing lightly. "It's you. Why were you there?" Zhu Wu snorted coldly and turned to leave. Jiyu Feiyan's eyes darted around, and she let out a surprised "oh." Zhu Wu immediately stopped in his tracks and turned back, asking, "What's wrong?" I twisted my ankle. "It hurts so much." Jiyu Feiyan looked in agony. Zhu Wu quickly leaped over to Jiyu Feiyan's side, bent down to examine her foot, and kept asking her, "Does it hurt here? How about here? Is it this one?" Jiyu Feiyan chuckled. "Zhu Wu Gij, you care about me. Why are you so concerned about me?" Zhu Wu realized he was being teased and immediately let go of Jiyu Feiyan's foot, standing up to scold her angrily. "You wicked woman, always playing tricks on people. I won't believe you anymore." He turned to leave immediately. Jiyu Feiyan quickly said, "Hey, I admit I tricked you. My foot isn't really hurting, but my heart is aching." Those words stopped Zhu Wu in his tracks. Zhu Wu stopped in his tracks. "What are you feeling sorry for?" "Of course, I feel sorry for you. I knew you must be very conflicted and distressed. I deliberately avoided you because I didn't want things to come to this. Yet, here we are. Say whatever you want. You harmed my master. Between you and me, there is only deep-rooted hatred. This time, I'll let you go. But if we meet again, I will not show mercy." She strode away. Jiyu Feiyan called out loudly, "Zhu Wu, turn around." Zhu Wu turned his head instinctively. Jiyu Feiyan said with a smile, "All right, you've seen me again. You can come and kill me now." Zhu Wu was so angry with her that he reached for the hilt of his sword, gripping it and then releasing it, over and over again, which made people roll their eyes. Chuhi was so furious that smoke seemed to be coming out of his ears. I firmly grasped her wrist and carefully observed Jiyu Feiyan. Having lived 2 lifetimes, I still don't understand Jiyu Feiyan. I don't understand what kind of charm she possesses that makes Lu Yu disregard etiquette and law, and Zhu Wu set aside the grudge of killing his master. I want to observe more. Zhu Wu's face contorted with anger, yet he didn't draw his sword. Jiyu Feiyan smiled sweetly as she threw herself into Zhu Wu's arms, wrapping her arms around his waist and speaking softly, "Zhu Wu Gij, I knew you wouldn't bear to kill me. since you're not laying a hand on me this time, you'll never do so again, right? I know the distress in your heart. You hate me for disrupting your master's retirement ceremony. But do you know why I did it? Why?" With a soft, warm body in his embrace, Zhu Wu visibly relaxed. He seemed to be eagerly anticipating Jiyu Feiyan providing a reasonable explanation, so that he could set aside his moral burden and no longer seek revenge for Song Yishan. Jiyu Feiyan released Zhu Wu and spoke coldly with an air of arrogance. "It's all your master's fault. If he wanted to retire and wash his hands of the martial world, that would have been fine, but he had to drag you into it too, forcing you to leave there and forbidding you from associating with me. He said I'm always causing trouble and that I only have martial skills but lack understanding of proper conduct. I heard all these things. I'm clear about my debts and grievances. If he treated me poorly, I naturally have to retaliate. What, is it only allowed for your master to badmouth me, but not for me to fight back?" She looked up at Zhu Wu and, seeing his bad complexion, immediately became anxious. "You're blaming me, aren't you? It was his own bad luck that got him killed. I just wanted him to experience the pain of being misunderstood. If you blame me, then kill me right now. I will never resent you." She stretched her neck, her face full of stubborn determination to face death, making her both hateful and lovable. Zhu Wu sighed deeply, as if feeling very helpless. "You know I wouldn't kill you." Jiyu Feiyan's anger turned to joy, her coquettish demeanor charming. "Brother Zhu Wu, I knew you were the best." A faint smile appeared on Zhu Wu's cold face, but it quickly vanished as he asked, "What were you doing at the Lu family? I heard you caused quite a scene at the Marquis's wedding banquet today. Have you fallen for the Marquis's heir? When did this happen?" Jiyu Feiyan wasn't the least bit flustered. She spoke with conviction. "I like him." "So what? I've always treated you like a real brother. Could it be that you like me?" Her eyes remained fixed on Zhu Wu without blinking. Zhu Wu was infuriated, unwilling to admit it, yet seemingly unwilling to let it go. "You? Who would like you?" Jiyu Feiyan sighed. "If you don't like me, why can't I like someone else?" Zhu Wu was furious, yet he stubbornly refused to say the words like, as if doing so would completely put him below Jiyu Feiyan. Jiyu Feiyan let out a soft hum, slightly lifting her chin, her fingers twirling a strand of hair, her expression both coquettish and adorable. She glanced sideways at Zhu Wu, seeing his angry look, and couldn't help but let out a long sigh. "Zhu Wu Gij, don't be angry. You know very well that there's no possibility between you and me." "Why is it impossible?" "Between you and me lies the death of your master. Although I didn't kill him, the world doesn't know the truth, and they won't see it that way. They will point fingers at us. And can you truly ignore the world's judgment? And your junior sister, I've heard, is an extremely stubborn person. If you truly were to be with me, not only would she try to kill me, but she would also try to kill you. What would you do then? I don't want you to end up abandoned by everyone and torn between choices." "Zhu Wu, brother, it's best for us to remain as siblings. Our fates are indeed not intertwined. You will respect me and bless me, won't you? In my heart, you will always be my brother." She spoke as if on the verge of tears. Zhu Wu's heart softened, his face filled with distress. He spoke anxiously. "I won't let my junior sister kill you. I'll find a way myself. But what good is it that you like him? He's the son of nobility, and you're a woman of the martial world. Besides, he's already getting married. A man like that isn't worthy of you." "So what if he's the son of nobility? I, Jiyu Feiyan, am worthy of anyone. Moreover, it's because I rejected him that he's marrying someone else." "Then why are you causing trouble at someone else's wedding? You clearly can't let go." "Yes, I can't let go. I want to see what kind of woman he's marrying. I'm still heartbroken and sad." "So why should he be with a beauty? I'm jealous. That's why I'm causing trouble at his wedding. I want him to remember my face for the rest of his life. I don't allow him to look at anyone else. I want to ruin that woman, make her despised by others. I'm just a despicable person trapped by love. Are you satisfied now?" Jiyu Feiyan was being unreasonable, yet Zhu Wu was the one who panicked. His eyes were filled with confusion, and for such a big man, he didn't know where to put his hands and feet. "I didn't say that, but that's clearly what you were thinking." "I didn't. You kill that bitch for me, and then I'll believe you." "You're being ridiculous." Yes, I'm being ridiculous, I'm immature. You regret knowing me now, right? If that's the case, let's never see each other again. Jiyu Feiyan ground her teeth in anger, stomped her foot, and with a turn of her light-footed skill, she climbed a tree. With a few light taps of her toes, she disappeared into the distance. Zhu Wu stood frozen in place, eventually letting out a long, bitter sigh before getting up to chase. Just at that moment, Chu He swiftly flicked a pebble, striking Zhu Wu on the temple. She applied immense force, and Zhu Wu let out a muffled groan before collapsing to the ground. Chu He rushed over and angrily delivered a chop to the back of his neck, knocking him out completely before tying him up. She stomped angrily on Zhu Wu's body several times. Beast, beast, beast. How can you face master and mistress? She never dreamed that her master would be ruined and his family destroyed just for speaking ill of Jiyu Feiyan, nor could she have imagined that Zhu Wu and Jiyu Feiyan knew each other and had once harbored mutual affection. She felt it was unfair to her master and mistress for teaching such an ungrateful wretch. I also feel it's unfair to myself. In my previous life, my entire life was indeed wasted by these three lunatics. I blew a whistle, and after a while, a few people came running at the sound and threw Jiyu Feiyan to the ground. This is someone from Yuxiong Tower. They chased after Jiyu Feiyan and easily took down the unprepared Jiyu Feiyan. I searched her and found 2 bottles of ointment, 1 bottle of Wushuang ink, and another that smells very similar to the antidote for Wushuang ink that famous doctors used to make, but I need to confirm it. I locked the 2 of them in a secret room in one of the Li family's estates. They were held separately. Their eyes were covered, and they were awakened with water. The first to be interrogated was Jiyu Feiyan. After waking up, she turned her head in confusion and said sharply, "Who are you? What do you want?" I remained silent. Chu He coldly lashed Jiyu Feiyan with a whip, feigning anger as he said, "You harmed my brother. Of course, I'm here for revenge. Tell me, where is the antidote for Wushuang ink?" Jiyu Feiyan asked. "Are you Lu Lian?" Chu He snorted lightly, not denying it. Jiyu Feiyan was not as angry anymore and had relaxed a bit. It seemed that in her eyes, Lu Lian would never harm her life no matter what. It turns out that Lu Lian already knew Jiyu Feiyan at this time. I was dazed for a moment, and the unwillingness and anger in my heart surged endlessly, lingering and sorrowful, like a mournful lament. Jiyu Feiyan said, "I didn't mean to harm your brother. It was that wretched woman. She had no feelings for your brother at all. Otherwise, why would she hide behind him, causing me to make a mistake in the heat of the moment?" "Ah!" Chu He lashed Jiyu Feiyan with the whip once more, even harder than before. "You're the one who's shameless. What right do you have to meddle in my brother and sister-in-law's affairs? Who told you to lower yourself and go disrupt someone else's wedding ceremony? Did your parents not teach you any manners or upbringing? Or are you like a beast, born and raised without a mother or father? Give me the antidote, and I'll spare your life. Otherwise, I'll scar your face." She pulled out a dagger, pressing the cold blade against Jiyu Feiyan's delicate cheek. Jiyu Feiyan finally seemed to feel a hint of fear, suppressing her rage as she said coldly, "The antidote is on me." Chu He pretended to reach out to search, but naturally found nothing. She slapped Jiyu Feiyan across the face with a sharp crack. "You lied to me. You don't have the antidote on you at all. How could that be? It must be there. Look again." Jiyu Feiyan grew anxious. Chu He's voice was cold and stern. "If there is none, then there is none. Are you deliberately trying to harm my brother? If his career is damaged, he will never forgive you for the rest of his life. This dynasty has a rule: officials must have proper appearance and be physically sound. If Lu Yu cannot quickly remove the ink stains from his face, his official career will come to an end. He must never again, as in his previous life, hold a high position and wield great power." Jiyu Feiyan was on the verge of tears from anxiety. "There really is. Touch it again. How could I ever harm my dear Yu?" Chu He slightly softened his tone. "Indeed, there isn't. Did you drop it on the way? Do you have any other way to make the antidote? This concerns my brother's entire life." "No, this ointment was something I obtained by chance. There's only this 1 bottle, and the antidote is also just 1 bottle." Chu He and I exchanged a glance. I let out a huge sigh of relief. That would be perfect. Chu He slapped Jiyu Feiyan hard across the face. gritting his teeth. Then you have truly ruined my brother. What should he do now without the antidote? By destroying my brother. You have destroyed the future of my entire Lu family, Jiu Feiyan. My brother will surely kill you. Even if he doesn't, my mother and I will never let you go. You can forget about ever stepping into the Lu family's doors in this lifetime. Jiu Feiyan's face turned deathly pale, and she was utterly panicked. Let Yulong come see me. I want to see Yulong. There is still a way. I bought this medicine from a group of merchants from the western regions. Take the bottle and look for the western region's merchants, perhaps you can find the antidote. I am completely at ease now, a merchant from the western regions, who just happens to sell this kind of medicine. I'm afraid waiting 10 years wouldn't bring such an opportunity. This truly is a chance that cannot be sought but only encountered. No wonder in my previous life, I searched all over the land and still couldn't find this medicine. Lu Yu is finished, I am very comforted. I took the whip and lashed Jiu Feiyan, stroke after stroke. In my previous life, I hated her for 20 years, yet I didn't even know where her shadow was. In this life, I can finally let my hatred fall upon her in a tangible way. The whip lashed across Jiu Feiyan's face, leaving a bloody welt on her skin. She screamed in agony, her head turning toward me in disbelief. You wretch, how dare you ruin my face? My brother will never let you get away with this. I threw down the whip, put on my suede gloves, and smeared frostless ink over the places on her face where the whip had torn the flesh. The black ointment seeped into her crimson wound, the red and black making it look particularly tragic. I admired it for a while, only feeling that my once parched heart was being infused with vitality bit by bit. This was exactly the cause and effect I desired. I walked out of the secret room to interrogate Zhu Wu in another room, this time, with Chu He watching. I will do the interrogation. Zhu Wu identified the positions by listening to the sounds, roughly discerning that there were two people. He said coldly, "Who are you? Why have you kidnapped me?" I said calmly, "You don't need to know who I am. I want you to help me with something. Your junior sister is in my hands. As long as you agree to help me kill Lu Yu, I will release your junior sister. How about it?" Chu He slowed his breathing, clenched his fists, and watched Zhu Wu's reaction with a grave expression. A flicker of extremely well-concealed delight crossed Zhu Wu's face. He turned his head and said coldly, "A true man knows what to do and what not to do. I will never be coerced by you into committing murder and robbery. Don't you care about your junior sister's life anymore? Everyone has their own fate. You may do as you please. What about Jiu Feiyan? Do you not care for Jiu Feiyan's fate?" Zhu Wu stiffened, his face filled with indignation, grinding his teeth. "You are truly despicable." Both Chu He and I fell silent. My response to him was a fierce whip. I showed no mercy and gave him a thorough beating. I hated him for his selfishness and deceit in the previous life. Chu He was indeed murdered by him. He actually has the nerve to come to me for money. This beast, I'm tired from hitting him. Chu He took it. Zhu Wu screamed incessantly, his clothes soaked with blood, and he soon became a blooded figure. I said calmly, "What a tough one. But I wonder if Jiu Feiyan can withstand this beating." "Stop, you, don't hit her. I'll kill him, I'll go kill Lu Yu." Zhu Wu gasped, stopping them, then said coldly, "I know who you are, you're Lu Yu's fiancé. Shut up, I have nothing to do with him anymore, he is now my enemy." I know I lost my composure, but for some reason, I cannot bear to hear that I am Lu Yu's fiancé. It makes me sick, deeply sick. Zhu Wu sighed deeply and advised me, "Miss Li, Lu Yu doesn't like you, you should just let go. You're talented, beautiful, and come from a good family. Who couldn't you marry? Why waste your time on just one person?" I found it utterly bewildering. In my previous life, he had stayed by Jiu Feiyan's side for so many years without any recognition, even dying with her. I thought he was being stubborn, but I never expected him to be so open-minded. It seems that reason is only used to persuade others. When it comes to oneself, no reasoning works. I sneered with a mocking smile, "I can't compare to your magnanimity. You can watch the person you love be with another man, even tuck them in with care, and even kill your rival's rival, all just to get your beloved to pay attention to you. Truly, your heart is vast. I'm impressed. You, for me." Zhu Wu was furious but couldn't find a word to refute. He simply said, I will go and kill Lu Yu. I hope you keep your word and release Jiyu Feiyan. Good, it's a deal. I'll have someone keep an eye on you. If you deliberately reveal my identity to Lu Yu, I'll chop Jiyu Feiyan into mincemeat and feed her to the dogs. Zhu Wu shuddered with fear. I signaled Chu He to leave, then ordered someone to feed Zhu Wu a mute pill before untying him. Zhu Wu was furious. I said, "It's just a mute pill that will make you unable to speak. It will automatically wear off within 12 hours and is completely harmless to people." This was given by an assassin from the Imperial Fragrance Tower. In my previous life, I gave up halfway and didn't collaborate with them so deeply, so I never knew. What a pity. Zhu Wu snorted coldly. As the drug gradually took effect, he slowly managed to utter a sentence. "Why bother? You and Jiyu Feiyan are complete strangers. Where does such deep hatred come from?" His question left me stunned. In this life, in the eyes of others, it was just Jiyu Feiyan trying to smear me, but instead, she smeared Lu Yu. Indeed, we have no deep-seated hatred. I went too far in doing this. I suddenly felt the bitterness of rebirth. No one knows your grievances, hatred, and resentment. They just think you've gone too far. You shouldn't have, you should have. But I quickly realized one thing. I shouldn't explain myself to others, nor should I try to prove anything. If I want to do something, I'll do it. Why should there be so much need for explanation? I chuckled lightly. You and Lu Yu didn't know each other either. I'd like to ask you, did Jiyu Feiyan save your life? Why do you treat him this way? Before the mute drug took effect, Zhu Wu managed to force out one last sentence. She never saved me. But I love her, and I would willingly die for her. He stormed off, but before leaving, he insisted on hearing Jiyu Feiyan's voice to set his mind at ease. Quite the romantic. The wait was long. Chu He asked, "Can he kill Lu Yu?" I nodded and then shook my head. As long as he tries to kill, the outcome doesn't matter. As long as he attempts to kill, the people I've arranged will reveal his identity at the crucial moment, and then he'll receive a warrant for his arrest from the court. He would never be able to stay in hotels normally, buy things normally, and would have to live in hiding all his life. At that time, I will let him leave with Jiyu Feiyan. But I will tell Jiyu Feiyan that he went to kill Lu Yu. I hope Jiyu Feiyan will still feel sorry for him, understand him, and not resent or hate him. Ha 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 ha. At this moment, I feel like a villain, my blood boiling at the thought of the evil I am about to commit. Chu He touched my forehead. "Miss Li, you're smiling so terrifyingly." I stopped laughing, composed my expression, and told Chu He a story. Once upon a time, there was a woman who was virtuous and kind, filial to her in-laws, nurturing to her sister-in-law, and devoted to her husband as if he were the heavens. Originally, her husband's family was quite satisfied with her, but one day, a big black mole appeared on her face. The mole grew larger and larger, eventually taking up half of her face. From then on, her husband despised her, her in-laws scolded her, and even her sister-in-law treated her with disrespect. Yet, she still devoted herself to taking care of them. She thought that since she had already lost her beauty, she could not afford to lose her reputation as well. These were the foundations of her standing in the family. But later, one day, she discovered that the mole on her face was the result of her husband deliberately poisoning her, because her husband fell in love with a young and beautiful woman, and even kept her lavishly outside the home. The woman did not have to serve her in-laws or care for her sister-in-law. She was spoiled, willful, and unreasonable. But her husband adored her deeply, not only going out of his way to please her but also promising a lifelong monogamous relationship, vowing never to touch another woman. Meanwhile, her in-laws praised the woman for bearing children, and her sister-in-law liked her and grew closer to her. In the end, the woman's son inherited the family business, her daughter took in a husband, and she got everything. The legitimate wife, however, was despised, hated, and insulted. Those people only had a stable life because of the legitimate wife's hard work, yet they even called her greedy. Chu He, I can't understand, why do virtuous women only receive condemnation, while the mistress gets everything? Why is that? Chu He remained silent. I also remained silent. Her gaze rested quietly on me, unable to speak for a long time. After a long while, she said, "Li Xiangjuan, you see me avenging my master and mistress now. But I wasn't the child they liked the most. My master and mistress preferred Zhu Wu. They chose Zhu Wu as the heir to carry on their legacy. She had always been a child who wasn't particularly endearing. Zhu Wu didn't like her, finding her unattractive and mediocre in talent. When she was young and naive, she called him Gidge, older brother. Zhu Wu angrily warned her never to call him Gidge again, only allowing her to address him as Xixiang, senior martial brother. She understood Zhu Wu's disdain and, from then on, only called him Xixiang respectfully, never getting close to him again. Mr. and Mrs. Song also preferred Zhu Wu, feeling that he was a man, and he was also handsome and dignified, not disgracing the family name. Therefore, Zhu Wu only needed to practice martial arts. While she had to practice martial arts and also handle many trivial matters, Li Xiangjuan, you see how the world is full of malice towards ordinary-looking girls, because of my plain appearance. I lost the favor of my master and mistress, the affection of my senior martial brother, but so what? That just proves most people are mediocre. I just need to avoid being mediocre myself. Did you know, before my master retired, he told me that I actually have great talent in swordsmanship. He said he was going to retire, no longer needing someone to uphold the family's honor, and he would fairly teach me his secret techniques. Li Xiangjuan. At that moment, I felt truly elated. But I was also sad. Beautiful people don't need to fight for anything. They have martial arts manuals handed to them. But someone like me, who isn't beautiful, has to work very hard just to be treated fairly. But I don't hate my master and mistress. They gave me a life. And no one is perfect, just as I am imperfect in appearance. They are imperfect in their thoughts. That's all there is to it. Whenever I think of this, I no longer feel sad. Seeking revenge for my master and mistress isn't entirely for their sake, it's also for my future self. I hope that when I reach 30, 40, or 50 years old, I can look back on my youth without any regrets. Li Xiangjuan. I live for myself, this is my way of the sword. I cannot answer your question. But I believe there is justice in this world, otherwise, there would be no righteous warriors like us in the Jianghu. If I ever meet that woman, I may not be able to give her an answer. But I will kill that adulterous couple for her. I felt a deep respect for her. I've found a treasure. She is a hidden gem in the vast sea. Chuhi, I've also thought about many things. For us young ladies from noble families, we have been taught since childhood to be virtuous, gentle and chaste, to value our reputation, and to consider the honor and disgrace of our family in every word and action. In fact, we do rely on our family to make a living. Without the family's protection, I wouldn't have been able to smoothly break off the engagement with Lu Yu. The family is my turtle shell. When danger arises, I can retreat into it, but in ordinary times, I have to carry the shell and walk slowly to prevent it from being damaged. It can be a bit tiring. But I cannot only enjoy the benefits of the turtle shell without bearing its drawbacks. As for the question I asked you, I have actually thought about it carefully as well. Good women lose everything. Bad women get everything, or so I thought. In fact, at the end of that story, the main wife killed her husband, the concubine, and the concubine's children, and she herself was executed. But the emperor upheld justice for her, confiscating her husband's property. The empress took pity on her, allowing her to divorce before her execution. You see, stepping out of that original home, the good people remain good, and the bad people remain bad. This is what is meant by the saying that justice lies in the hearts of the people. If in a certain environment, good people turn bad, it must not be the fault of the people, but the fault of the environment. All you need to do is step out of it. Chu He, I haven't found my own path yet. But I believe that one day, I will find it, and I hope that everyone who has been wronged can become their own hero, without having to wait for someone to save them. This day was the happiest I've had since my rebirth. Suddenly, I felt the heavy turtle shell on my back become a bit more transparent and also a bit harder. I realized that this shell didn't necessarily have to be a heavy burden, it could also be strong and light, carrying me up to the highest heavens. Not long after, a servant came to report that Zhu Wu had returned, but he was covered in blood, and it seemed the assassination had failed. Chu He and I exchanged a glance. I hurried to meet Zhu Wu. While Chu He hid in the shadows, Zhu Wu's face was filled with rage. his long sword pointed at me, yet, upon seeing the heavy guard surrounding me, he resentfully sheathed his sword. The assassin who had followed him whispered a report to me. There were no guards at Lu Yu's house. So Zhu Wu charged straight into Lu Yu's room and stabbed him in the chest with a sword. Just as he was about to kill Lu Yu, he followed him, called out Zhu Wu's name, and then slashed Zhu Wu's leg. The commotion alerted the guards of the Lu family. Zhu Wu, dragging his injured leg, managed to escape with great difficulty. He already knows that I did this on purpose and now hates me to death. I feel quite pleased listening to it. Lu Yu didn't set up any defenses. Probably to make it easier for Jiyu Feiyan to come and go in the courtyard. He was certain that Jiyu Feiyan would come to deliver the antidote, but he never dreamed that his rival in love would be the one to show up. As for Zhu Wu, he's about to receive a wanted notice issued by the court, and he can look forward to a life of being pointed at and whispered about. Tilda. Congratulations. I carefully observed Zhu Wu's anger and smiled. I keep my word. I'll release Jiyu Feiyan now. Follow me. Zhu Wu, held by others, endured the pain in his injured leg and limped after me into another secret chamber. Hearing the commotion, Jiyu Feiyan immediately called out, "Who is it? Let me out, let me out." Zhu Wu also grew agitated and was about to go see Jiyu Feiyan. I had someone hold Zhu Wu down, making sure he could hear Jiyu Feiyan's voice but not see her. I walked up to Jiyu Feiyan, removed the cloth covering her eyes, and for the first time, looked directly into her eyes openly. Jiyu Feiyan angrily said, "It's you, indeed, it is me." My mind had calmed considerably. Truly, only after exacting revenge can one find peace. You despicable woman, you are truly vile. If brother Yu knew you were doing this, he would never marry you. A malicious woman like you is not worthy of being his wife. He is not worthy of being my husband. You and he are the perfect match. I took out the antidote, the one and only antidote available at the moment. Something I longed for in my previous life but could never obtain, now held in my hand in this life, still feels unreal. I steadied myself and, in front of Jiyu Feiyan, poured out some of the antidote from the bottle, leaving only a small amount, just enough for one person. Jiyu Feiyan widened her eyes in disbelief. "Are you insane? How could you do this?" I replied calmly. "There's only this one dose of antidote, but 2 people are poisoned, Lu Yu and Zhu Wu. Who do you want me to give it to?" Jiyu Feiyan's expression shifted. "You captured brother Zhu Wu, you wicked woman. I knew you were up to no good. You deliberately tricked me, didn't you? You're so infatuated with Lu Yu that you must have saved the antidote for him. If I choose Zhu Wu, I'll fall right into your trap. Is Yu Lang outside, listening to us? You're trying to deceive me. Ha! If you don't choose, it means you don't want to save anyone, and I'll just throw away the antidote." I made a move as if to throw the bottle. Jiyu Feiyan screamed, "I choose Lu Yu." I paused. "Why? I have feelings for him. What about Zhu Wu? He came to assassinate me for your sake, but ended up being captured by me. He gave up his revenge for his master for you and even prepared to kill his junior sister, fearing she would come seeking revenge on you. After all he has done, doesn't he deserve a bottle of antidote from you?" Jiyu Feiyan was stunned, frozen for a long, long time. She murmured to herself, "He actually treated me so well." On the other side, Zhu Wu listened quietly, not daring to utter a word. His face was filled with grief and indignation, as if he too wanted to know Jiyu Feiyan's reaction. After a long while, Jiyu Feiyan fiercely shook her head, as if trying to shake off that moment of emotion. "I only see Zhu Wu as a brother. Even if his appearance is damaged, I won't look down on him. At most, I'll support him like a brother for the rest of my life." Jiyu Feiyan spoke with determination. Zhu Wu's face turned ashen. I felt the joy of piercing the heart. I clapped my hands and praised, "What a benevolent and righteous lady you are." Now, the second question arises. I did deceive you just now. In fact, the ones poisoned by this frostless ink are you and Lu Yu. This time, how will you choose? I ordered someone to pick up a prepared bronze mirror and place it in front of Jiyu Feiyan. At first, Jiyu Feiyan paid no attention, but soon, she stared at the mirror and screamed, "My face, Li Xiangjuan, how cruel you are. How dare you treat me like this?" Her face contorted with rage. the once lovely and charming countenance now twisted with resentment, her beautiful eyes seemed to spit fire, so different from the Jiyu Feiyan I had seen in my previous life, who had radiated happiness. Happiness makes one radiate light, while hatred drains the spirit. She is falling step by step, seemingly reaching the same state I once was in, but it's not enough, far from enough. I take a step back, watching her calmly. Choose. Will you choose Lu Yu or yourself? Jiyu Feiyan was in agony. This time, she was truly suffering, tears streaming down her face, her heart in turmoil. She looked at me with pitiful eyes, hoping I would take pity on her. But in the previous life, she showed me no mercy. In this life, I will show her none either. My heart is as hard as iron. Jiyu Feiyan slowly knelt down, her expression desolate. Li Xiangjuan, I know I was wrong, but I didn't harm you, did I? Why do you hate me so much? My heart felt unbearably heavy. She didn't harm me. It was I who was reborn, I who was clever, I who was quick-witted. What does it have to do with her? I said coldly. Choose you, or Lu Yu. 3, 2. I raised the bottle high and slowly loosened my grip under Jiyu Feiyan's terrified gaze. Me, choose me, Jiyu Feiyan screamed. I caught the bottle with my other hand. Jiyu Feiyan collapsed limply to the ground, as if all her strength had drained away. Jiyu Feiyan, your love is nothing more than this. I threw the medicine bottle at her. She was afraid the bottle would break and quickly grabbed it. Is this really the antidote? I didn't answer her. She could use it or not as she pleased. I want her to overthink, to torment herself, to be caught in. A quick death by a sharp blade is a satisfying revenge. A slow, agonizing torment is a hatred that cannot be reconciled. The psychological torment I endured, she must suffer as well. You can leave. Are you being so kind? I gave a light snort. Taking the people with me and leaving only Zhu Wu and Jiyu Feiyan behind. Jiyu Feiyan's face turned pale inch by inch. Zhu Wu looked at her, the affection in his eyes replaced by indifference. This time, it was not a feigned indifference meant to conceal something, but a genuine disregard. In his heart, Jiyu Feiyan had transformed from a chivalrous woman of true character into a selfish and petty person. Although he was also a petty person, even petty people yearn for goodness and despise wickedness. Jiyu Feiyan hurriedly covered her face. Don't look at me. Zhu Wu coldly untied the rope from her body, then turned and walked away. Jiyu Feiyan felt his disgust, and tears were about to fall. She picked up the antidote and quickly followed. Brother Zhu Wu, wait for me. The two of them came out one after the other. I looked at Jiyu Feiyan and smiled, saying, I forgot to tell you earlier, Zhu Wu is injured, and the injury is on his leg. Just as Jiyu Feiyan was about to comfort Zhu Wu, I added, but this injury was left when Zhu Wu assassinated Lu Yu. Lu Yu was stabbed in the chest, and it's unknown whether he will live or die. If you don't believe what I'm saying, why not ask Zhu Wu and see if he denies it? Jiyu Feiyan's expression went blank for a moment. She angrily questioned Zhu Wu. Is what Li Xiangjuan said true? Zhu Wu's mute drug had not yet worn off, and he couldn't utter a single word. He pointed to his throat, but Jiyu Feiyan, in her anger, couldn't understand. In the end, he glared fiercely at me and limped away in a hurry. Jiyu Feiyan followed behind him, no longer as urgent as before, only filled with confusion and resentment. She didn't dare to stay alone either, afraid that I would catch her again, so she reluctantly followed Zhu Wu's footsteps. He emerged from the shadows and asked, Are we just letting them go like this? Are you really giving her the antidote? I nodded. Once she uses up the antidote, the real nightmare will begin. She took the antidote and dared not see Lu Yu again, and I will issue a kill order, forcing her to stay with Zhu Wu to survive. Zhu Wu, being hunted by the court, can only use her as a cover. I want them to be forced together, yet forced to despise each other. That is the most satisfying punishment. By the time I returned home, the physician had already developed an enhanced version of the unsolvable, frost-free ink. Looking at that small jar of ointment, I placed an additional bounty at the Royal Fragrance Pavilion. I wanted them to send their best assassin skilled in lightness kung fu to track Jiyu Feiyan. I didn't want Jiyu Feiyan dead. I only wanted them to leave an ink stain on her face every single time. I wanted Jiyu Feiyan to live in constant fear. unable to enjoy a single day. I wanted her to face aging and death with a blackened face, regretting her actions for the rest of her life. However, I also admire someone like her. How could that be? Chuhi was taken aback. I sighed. She is a villain, always putting herself first and never letting herself suffer. If good people could learn even half of her self-prioritization, perhaps they could live better lives. Balancing self-interest and public interest is always a difficult challenge, but I wish good people could live better lives, rather than always sacrificing and giving, as if living well were a sin. It shouldn't be this way. After finishing all this, I had a good, sound sleep. I slept for 2 days and 2 nights. Upon waking up, I felt refreshed and invigorated, as if all the weariness from my previous life had been swept away. I looked at the still youthful face in the mirror, but the eyes staring back were not those of a 16-year-old girl. Now, I have only one enemy left, the Liu family. Chuhi excitedly told me about Liu Yu. Liu Yu was assassinated by Zhu Wu and is now critically injured, lying unconscious. As an official appointed by the imperial court, his assassination is a major incident. The governor of the capital has issued a warrant for Zhu Wu's arrest based on the descriptions provided by the Liu family. Now, wanted posters for Zhu Wu are posted both inside and outside the city. The Liu family took this opportunity to ask for leave for Liu Yu, hoping that the ink marks on his face could be cured during the medical treatment. Liu's mother, Madame Qian, had already developed a deep hatred for Jiyu Feiyan, vowing that such a vulgar woman would never be allowed to enter the Liu family. Madame Qian also came to apologize to my father and mother. She lamented the misfortune of the Liu family, saying they had been entangled by a woman from the martial world, which had led to their current predicament. On one hand, they say they like a well-bred lady like me, who is chaste, gentle, and obedient, and still hope that both families can put aside old grudges and become in-laws. My father and mother threw her things out and ordered that from then on, we would sever all ties with the Liu family. If any member of the Liu family dared to show up at our door again, they would be driven away immediately. Madame Qian knew she couldn't persuade my parents, so she began actively seeking out renowned doctors to examine Liu Yu. But no matter how many medicines they tried, the ink stain not only didn't fade, instead, it looked even darker and more terrifying. The Liu family spent money like flowing water every day. Liu Lian hadn't been out for fun or shopping in a long time, and she felt a bit of resentment toward Liu Yu. Nowadays, the Liu family was constantly bickering and fighting, with none of the joyful and harmonious atmosphere from before. A smile involuntarily curled at the corner of my lips. I had heard before that if you want to quickly become close to someone, the way is to gossip about a third person together. Once I was the one they talked about, and by talking about me, they formed alliances and bonded closely together. Now, without me, they can't find a common enemy. So they can only attack each other and fall apart. How satisfying. Chuhi hesitated again and said, Li Xiangjuan, your reputation might be ruined, but I don't think it matters much. What do you think? I smiled and nodded. Indeed, it's nothing. Who doesn't talk about others behind their backs? Who isn't talked about behind their backs? I am not a saint, and I can't expect others to be saints. As long as I live better and better, more and more people will speak well of me. I just need to make sure I live well, and that's enough. Those in power are surrounded by people who flatter them. I have just lost power, that's all. When I hold power, I believe that good people will appear around me. At that time, I will need to be wary of the good people around me and listen more to different voices. I started managing my own dowry. With the experience from my previous life, I was able to handle these tasks more smoothly. I could even make up for the regrets of my past life by finding my former capable assistants in advance and making the shops even more prosperous. In just 3 short months, my shop became a hit, and the new products I introduced quickly gained widespread recognition. The gossip about me decreased significantly, and instead, people began to say that someone with my temperament was truly capable of achieving great things. I finally understood one thing: history is written by the victors. Once I understood this, I became even more indifferent to rumors and gossip, focusing solely on my own affairs. One day, I saw Liu Yu. The moment I laid eyes on him, I knew he had also been reborn. His eyes were grave, harboring the intimidation of a superior, but paired with such a face covered by a mask, it seemed somewhat ridiculous. He asked me directly if Jiyu Feiyan had been captured by me. I looked at him and found a sense of steadiness from meeting a worthy opponent. The suffering from my previous life could finally find a sufficiently significant foothold in this life. After all, he is the root of all my suffering, and I have been waiting for this day. A mocking curve lifted at the corner of my lips as I slowly walked up to him, reaching out to mercilessly pull off the cloth covering his face. "What are you hiding your face for, young Master Lu? Is there something on it that you can't let others see?" He was startled for a moment, then glared at me with furious eyes. "Li Xiangjuan, you've gone too far." I carefully admired the ink stains on his face, which extended from his cheeks to near his ears. There was a blank spot in the middle. The skin Jiyu Feiyan hadn't pinched at the time, making the ink stains look as if they had run out, which was somewhat laughable. "Master Lu once told me that you didn't look down on me, so I didn't need to hide and make a fool of myself. Now, I'm telling you the same thing, I won't laugh at you, and you don't need to hide in front of me either. It really does look ridiculous." The same words stung him, and I felt a sense of satisfaction. So this is what it feels like to be without morals, to be a villain. Lu Yu fell silent. "I'm sorry." I froze for a moment. What did I just hear? "I'm sorry." But I didn't feel refreshed at all, I only felt anger. Can 20 years of suffering be resolved with a simple apology? No, never. I chuckled lightly and took out a box of scar removal cream. "Young Master Lu, I don't have the person you're looking for, and I don't know where your Miss Jiyu has gone, but we both know how vicious the poison of the frostless ink is. Why don't you cut this skin off? I have excellent scar-removing ointment here that I can sell to you at a discount." Lu Yu bowed to me. "Everything that happened before was my fault. But in the previous life, my Lu family was raided and exiled, and your revenge has already been avenged. In this life, we should have been even. Tell me Jiyu Feiyan's whereabouts, and from now on, all grudges will be settled. As compensation, I am willing to give you 10 shops from the Lu family." I looked at him coldly and said calmly, "Young Master Lu, how about this? You keep this face for 20 years. After 20 years, I will tell you Jiyu Feiyan's whereabouts. By then, you will be less than 40 years old and can still start over. What do you think?" Lu Yu's lips tightened. "After all the years we've been husband and wife, must you go this far? Whether the enmity is settled or not, whether it ends or not, is for the victim to decide, not you, Lu Yu. There is no affection between us, only hatred. I will wait to see your retribution." Lu Yu's expression turned grave, his gaze sharp, as he turned and left with a flick of his sleeve. In his previous life, Lu Yu rose to the rank of a third-grade official, wielding great power and serving as a trusted and valued minister. I will not underestimate him. Soon, Chu He found out that Lu Yu was inquiring about Jiyu Feiyan's whereabouts at the Yuxiong Tower, but the Yuxiong Tower refused him. Because the Yuxiong Tower does not accept conflicting orders at the same time. But from this, Lu Yu deduced that I was pursuing Jiyu Feiyan. He quickly contacted the rival of Yuxiong Tower, Sanhua Pavilion, with only one request, to protect Jiyu Feiyan and bring her to him. Thinking of the current Jiyu Feiyan, I couldn't help but laugh out loud. Chu He once went to see Jiyu Feiyan. She used the antidote to wash away the wushuang ink on her face and managed to win back Zhu Wu's favor. But she clearly felt that Zhu Wu no longer cherished her as much as before. She lost her temper, but Zhu Wu no longer tried to console her. Instead, he sneered coldly, turned around, and walked away. She left in a fit of anger, but was soon caught up by the assassins from the Imperial Fragrance Pavilion, leaving another ink stain on her face. But this time, there was no antidote left. Terrified, she hurried to find Zhu Wu, only to see that he was wanted and being pursued by Imperial constables. She helped Zhu Wu, and after the two escaped, they disguised themselves and left the capital, heading towards the western regions, intending to find the antidote for wushuang ink. I can't wait to see the scene when she finally reaches the western regions after all the hardships, finds the antidote for wushuang ink, only to discover that the original antidote can't remove the wushuang ink on her face now. That would be absolutely hilarious. During this process, She was found twice by people from the Imperial Fragrance Pavilion, and now she has 3 ink stains on her face, making her look like a calico cat. In order to get Zhu Wu to help her, she gave herself to him. I'm really curious, what would happen if Lu Yu found her? That would be absolutely thrilling. I've notified the Imperial Fragrance Pavilion to suspend the pursuit, but the payment will still be made, waiting for the right moment to resume the hunt. Not long after, Jiyu Feiyan was found by Lu Yu's men and taken to the capital. On this day, I openly and honorably visited the Lu residence. Chuhi followed behind me, accompanied by the master I had hired for her. The 2 of them escorted me with an air of pride as we made our way to the banquet hall. As I looked at the familiar pavilions and towers, I felt that the Lu family seemed to have fallen into decline. In my previous life, the Lu family was thriving, with lush flowers and plants. The painted decorations on the pavilions and towers were regularly restored and touched up. The pond water was regularly cleaned and filtered, and the pavilions over the water were maintained with tung oil. Every plant and tree showed meticulous care, but now everything about the Lu family seemed dull and disheveled. When I entered, Zhu Wu was knocked to the ground, one of his legs bent in a twisted position. Jiyu Feiyan's hair was disheveled, her eyes filled with tears as she looked at Lu Yu. Lu Yu lifted her chin and asked her, "Where is the antidote?" Jiyu Feiyan gritted her teeth and refused to speak. Lu Yu lifted the veil covering her face, his eyes widening in shock. He let go of her hand, stumbling back several steps before collapsing into an armchair. How could this be? How? I watched the scene unfold with great satisfaction. Feeling a heavy weight lift from my heart, Jiyu Feiyan turned her head and saw me, quickly putting on her veil, and accused, "It's all her. This wretched woman destroyed the antidote." I smiled and said, "Miss Jiyu, you're not telling the truth. I clearly gave you a choice at the time." "Shut up, shut up. You're not allowed to speak. Don't say another word." Jiyu Feiyan covered her ears. "Speak," Lu Yu roared angrily. I sat down, comfortably enjoying their rage, a smile on my face. "See, I can be happy and at ease too. As long as my enemies are miserable enough." Amitabha, "I'll donate some money to the Jingyan nunnery later." Seeing that I remained silent, Lu Yu vented his anger onto Jiyu Feiyan. "Speak. Why won't you say anything?" Jiyu Feiyan stubbornly refused to speak. Zhu Wu, who was lying on the ground, suddenly spat out a mouthful of blood and sneered, "She naturally dares not speak, because, Zhu Wu," Jiyu Feiyan screamed. Zhu Wu, however, paid no attention to her and continued on his own. Because there was only 1 dose of the antidote left, Li Xiangjuan made her choose whether to give it to you or use it herself. "Ha, Lu Yu." Jiyu Feiyan chose herself. "Ha ha ha ha, she chose herself." Jiyu Feiyan's face turned ashen. Lu Yu felt as if struck by lightning. Zhu Wu laughed maniacally, thrilled by the enemy's defeat, but as he laughed, tears streamed down his face. "Jiyu Feiyan, you disgust me. I actually harmed my master and his wife for a woman like you. If I could live another life, I would kill you, I would tear you to pieces." He roared out loud. Jiyu Feiyan's lips trembled as she looked at Lu Yu pleadingly. "Yu Lang, it's not like that. I was too scared. I was afraid you would find me ugly and abandon me. I was truly terrified." Lu Yu gritted his teeth. "You don't trust me." Jiyu Feiyan was stunned for a moment before letting out a sharp, questioning scream. "How can I make me believe you? It hasn't been long since we parted, and you're already about to marry. How can you be so fickle towards me? And why should I still trust you? If I hadn't caused a scene at the wedding banquet, you and Li Xiangjuan would have long been flying together as a pair. Would you have even remembered that there was a Jiyu Feiyan in the martial world waiting for you? When you first fell for me at first sight, was it really because I saved you, or was it just because you were attracted by my looks? What's wrong with me cherishing my own appearance? Today's outcome is the result of your fickleness. Not my fault. Jiyu Feiyan is my enemy, but at this moment, I admire her. Someone like her probably always sleeps soundly." The hall fell into complete silence. Everyone seemed to have lost their strength. Lu Yu said in despair, "What does a woman's appearance matter? All you want is your husband's affection, and I can give that to you. But do you know what will happen if I have ink stains on my face? I will never be able to become an official in this lifetime." The emperor will forget about me, and my Lu family will be expelled from the ranks of the capital's nobility. The marquisate will end with my generation. Only by achieving something can I beg the emperor for mercy and allow our son to inherit the title. But because of your selfishness, all of this is ruined. What will become of our children? Have you ever thought about that? He had confused the past and the present. He came to his senses. But the desire to explain had already vanished. Jiyu Feiyan was bewildered and stunned. I said calmly, "Who says a woman's appearance isn't important? A woman's appearance is only occasionally for others to see. What matters most is for us to see ourselves. You want to live with dignity in this world. Are we women not human, not in need of living with dignity and beauty?" "Ha, how laughable," Jiyu Feiyan said. "That's right, I am not wrong. Rarely, in this lifetime, have I ever found myself on the same side as an enemy. I found it utterly boring." I clapped my hands, and a pair of constables entered, lifting Zhu Wu and carrying him out. Zhu Wu was a major criminal of the court. After discovering that Zhu Wu had been captured by Lu Yu, I immediately sent someone to report to the capital prefect. As a result, I received 50 taels of silver as a reward from the capital prefect. I gave the money to the constables who followed, only asking them to wait until I had finished watching the play before coming in to make the arrest. Zhu Wu was led away with his head bowed, not even glancing at Jiyu Feiyan. As he passed by Chu He, he softly said, "I'm sorry." Chu He stepped back. Afraid of getting contaminated by something dirty, I left the Lu residence, and before I left, I told Lu Yu, "There is an antidote in the western regions, and Jiyu Feiyan recognizes it." "Li Xiangjuan, I don't believe you." I smiled. "Ha, so what? You're still going to do it anyway." Lu Yu is an extremely arrogant person. Even knowing it's a trap, he would still jump right in. He would follow the path of my past life, seeking doctors and medicines everywhere, only to come up empty-handed. Full of hope, yet left with disappointment, Zhu Wu was thrown into prison. Not long after, as a typical case, he was sentenced to execution. On the day he died, we were all very busy. When the business was over, I realized he was dead. To us, he had already become a person of no importance. After Zhu Wu's death, Lu Yu had Jiyu Feiyan escorted to the western regions to search for medicine. Meanwhile, I initiated the assassination plan for the Imperial Fragrance Pavilion. By the time Jiyu Feiyan reached the western regions, his face was already covered in scars, with hardly any unblemished skin left. Everyone thought she was strange, assuming she had contracted a terrible disease, and they all avoided her, pointing fingers at her. Her genuine desire to find a cure for Lu Yu at the beginning turned into a wish for his death. Initially, Lu Yu even hired rivals of the Imperial Fragrance Pavilion to protect her, but later, unable to afford the cost, he had to withdraw the protection. His men watched helplessly as Jiyu Feiyan was bullied. At first, they would feign a stomp of protest, but eventually, they just stood by and watched. Jiyu Feiyan went from initially avoiding and evading to accepting her fate. Once a person accepts their fate, it's the beginning of a slide into the abyss. I think that even if she finds the antidote in the western regions, she probably won't bring it back for Lu Yu. Moreover, the antidote is hard to find. How long will it take her to find it? Later, Lu Yu colluded with officials to suppress my shops. He hired thugs to cause trouble and sent officials to suppress them. I treated this coldly, as I had already driven all of the Lu family's shops to the brink of collapse. Madame Qian had started selling off her shops, and I had acquired a few. I had my men surround those thugs and officials, then quietly wait for good news. Soon, a trusted eunuch of the Empress in the palace personally delivered a plaque that read, "Benevolent Merchant of the World." These years have been marked by constant natural disasters and human calamities. I asked my mother to take me to the palace to meet the Empress, offering to donate the profits I had earned from my business to aid in disaster relief. That day, the Empress Dowager looked at me for a long time. She smiled and said, "This young lady seems familiar." Those words made my tears fall. In my previous life, I burned down the manor, killed those who deserved it, made the world aware of my injustice, and when the Emperor sentenced me to death, I was not afraid, paying with my life for taking another's. This is what I deserve. What I fear most deep within my heart is dying as a wife of the Liu family, and even in the underworld, being recorded as such. That would be a tremendous humiliation for me. It was the Empress who summoned me and asked me if I wished to divorce. I nodded in agreement. She looked at me for a long time before slowly nodding. You will get what you wish for. Go now. I left in a daze, my feet in agony, moving slowly. I heard a maid by the queen ask her, Your Majesty, killing one's husband is a grave crime. Why do you still grant her grace? She is a good child, just not met with good people. Even a clay figurine has its limits. How could she not seek revenge? When I died, my heart was at peace. I think I have encountered a good emperor and empress. I was born in a good era. But unfortunately, I did not meet good people. If there is an afterlife, let me live a better life. Please, God, reborn. I seek revenge, make money, win people's hearts, and befriend the powerful. Only with the Empress Dowager is it not a matter of simply wanting to repay her kindness. I saved money for 3 years before I felt capable enough to stand before her. Before I entered the palace, I really wanted to proudly tell her how hard I had worked over these 3 years, and how much I had accomplished in these 3 years. I caused the Liu family to sell off their assets. I made Madame Qian so angry that she fell ill. I left Liu Lian without any suitors to this day. As for Liu Yu, he has secured a minor position in a prince's residence, hoping to bet on the right horse and rise with the new master in the future. I have earned a great deal of money, enough for her to face disasters with ease, but when I truly stood before her, I suddenly found myself unable to speak, only able to follow my mother in kneeling and paying respects. It wasn't until she spoke these words that tears began to flow. The emotions of past and present surged all at once. I couldn't stop crying. Mother, fearing I would lose composure, quickly interceded. The Empress, however, waved her hand, ordering hot water and a towel to be brought. Only after I had cried enough did she slowly say, Good girl, what's wrong? As I left the palace, it felt as if there was a piece of candy in my heart, sweetly emitting its fragrance. The Empress accepted my donation and returned 2 gifts. One was a plaque honoring me as a righteous merchant, which would ensure smooth sailing for my business ventures in the future. The other was assigning the relief efforts to the 7th prince, not the 4th prince, whom Liu Yu served. The 4th prince, realizing he was implicated due to Liu Yu, quickly removed Liu Yu from his retinue of advisors. Liu Yu asked to meet me. I declined. I am very busy and have little time left for the past. For me, every day is new and filled with sunshine. 5 years later, the Liu family lost their title, and their former marquisate was reclaimed. Madame Qian fell ill. At that time, Liu Lian had already married into a modest family, living a tight-fisted life. Upon hearing that Liu Yu came to borrow money to treat Madame Qian, she hid in the house pretending not to be home. Liu Yu had no choice but to go out and earn money to support his elderly mother. And in the vast capital, it was not easy to make a living. Not long after, Madame Qian passed away. And Liu Yu couldn't afford a burial plot. He had to sell his last piece of family property to bury his mother. But at this point, he still had a glimmer of hope, wanting to wait for Jiyu Feiyan to bring back the antidote from the western regions. So, I had someone deliver the antidote to Jiyu Feiyan's hands. Overjoyed, Jiyu Feiyan applied the medicine to her face, but it didn't work. After applying the entire bottle, she found it still didn't work, and her great joy turned into great sorrow. Jiyu Feiyan died in despair in the western regions. Liu Yu waited year after year, until he finally lost that last bit of spirit. Later, I took my lovely little daughter to Jingyan Nunnery to burn incense. Nun Jing'an smiled and stroked her hair, praising, Little girl, you are so well grown. And your fate is even better. Her little daughter smiled sweetly, revealing her adorable little tiger teeth. On the way back to the capital after descending the mountain, they encountered a beggar. The daughter said, He's so pitiful. I looked at the disheveled Liu Yu and said indifferently, Baby, don't sympathize with others so easily. You never know if you're sympathizing with a person or a ghost. Save your kindness for those who truly need it, not for those who merely appear pitiful. But don't worry. Your mother will grow up with you, sharing the prosperity of this era. After hearing the story above, What are your thoughts? Feel free to share your opinions in the comments section. Looking forward to hearing from you. If you liked this story, don't forget to like it, share it, and subscribe to my channel. See you next time.